Hello! Jump scare. Hello. How's it working? Is streaming it okay? Hopefully. Hello! Hello? Hello? Is there anybody there? Hello? Alright. Looks like we're good. Oh wow, a whole 3 people. Record numbers. Let's see here. So for those that are curious, if you've been listening or watching the VOD and heard the music, it's just another one of the thousands of gems that the algo graces me with. I'll post it in the chat. It is another small channel called Jonah Tries. I'm guessing that's them. With 507 subs. Thank you, Algo, for these hidden treasures. And it's an album called Experiment Unsuccessful that they produced. I like it quite a bit. It gives me, for those that ever played it, it gives me, for some reason, it gives me like Cave Story vibes. And I love Cave Story, so I'm a sucker for just Metroidvanias in general, so love exploration. It's really fun. Alright, let me see here. Cool. Alright, looks like we're set. Looks like we're good, folks. Alright. Hopefully the music's not too loud. I'm audible. Sound okay. And we can sort of get things moving along. Just as usual at the beginning, a couple of updates regarding myself and then stuff I'm working on. Now, finally, I'm going to start having updates of that kind because summer's over for the most part, and my volition is returning. As long as I can stave off the waves, the occasional waves of depression, we'll be all right, folks. Okay, so it looks like the Kelbri had been taking the ADHD med. It's starting to like really just kind of even out. I haven't like totally seen like a crazy jump in my like executive function stuff, but maybe I don't know. I've been seeing something. So that's good. Couple other things too. So let's see here, what else? Stuff I'm working on. It got pushed back like twice because of just reasons, but I got to. I'm still trying to get a hold of like 1 or 2 psychologists that I've been wanting to talk to, but it's always hard. A few, one particular, I don't think is going to happen anymore because just, I don't know, stuff happens, I guess. But I did have a nice chance to talk to Melissa Chappell again. So if you haven't seen the videos where I talked to her before, they're pretty fun. We talk about, just neurodivergency, sometimes the topic of academia. I think one of the first videos we talked about her work on expanding double empathy experimentation type stuff, which has to do with like autistic empathy and how it functions and learning more about it. I think that sort of empathy also is very much the kind of thing to be honest, something like double empathy to me just means like, oh, two individuals have a similar cognitive framework and they can communicate more efficiently together and then thus empathize in ways that are similar because of their relatable experiences and interpretations of the world around them, right? So yeah, it used to be like the thought used to be that, oh, autistic people lack empathy. It's like, oh no, well, when you put autistic people with autistic people, oh, look at that, more empathy appears. And also like they can empathize similarly, according to her work, that to like characters in literature, perhaps in a different way, stuff like that. But neurotypical person and an autistic person, if they read the same piece of fiction, they can communicate their emotions and thoughts through the medium of that piece of fiction. So that part's kind of cool. Stuff like that. Bridging gaps and such. Um, and I'm gonna talk. I talked to her again. The conversation I recorded today with her was more focused on sort of neurodivergency and academia, and how it's some of the barriers to entry and difficulties that come with, because she got her master's, she got a PhD. So she talks about her experiences. I talk a little bit about my own experiences getting my master's. We have very different experiences, but it's kind of cool to hear, and I think it's relevant to the whole schizoid thing, because obviously, if you guys already know my constant yammering, I believe a schizoid is more or less neurodivergent, either an autistic or schizo sense, and oftentimes some ADHD is in there. I wouldn't be surprised a lot more of the what is termed inattentive ADHD, but nonetheless, just about how some of that stuff, they were able to overcome it and deal with it. So it could be useful advice for those that want to go into university and college and feel really disheartened or uninterested in the institutions and things like that. It's like a whole conversation about that sort of stuff. So hopefully you guys will like it. I enjoyed having it. I think they did too. And I'll have that uploaded sometime, hopefully sooner rather than later. So anyway, that's that for that. There's your update, I guess. Hopefully I'll have more in the near future. Again, thank you to all the patrons and stuff that donate, help out. Keeps me sane. So it's good. All right. So the question that I had put forward, I feel like the music's a little too loud. The question I had put forward for this weekend is as follows. And I also kind of, in the Inks News, I kind of explained a little bit further what it is I wanted to kind of do with that. But nonetheless, I'll just repeat it here. So what I had asked was this. Do you find your emotions or effective empathy become that much harder to reach when physically near or engaged with another person? Has it been helpful? Has it been detrimental? I would like anecdotes. So, mainly, I wanted to know, because that's my experience, is that physical proximity actually has, like, an effect on how emotional I can get, as well as, obviously, emotional levels that are being, like, displayed and stuff like that, right? My experience has been basically, if somebody's feeling really emotional around me, I become that much more like stoic, right? And if I care about that person to whatever degree, like I become even more stoic, which is sometimes it is not a great look, I guess, or it might not be as helpful for other people. But that's just kind of how I've always been. If I'm feeling particularly miserable, but then someone that I don't really feel comfortable seeing that I am, I don't consciously do it, but I'll disassociate more from the emotions and like numb out a lot more until I'm alone again. So that's kind of my experience, right? Where emotional levels that are flaring up on the other individual, as well as physical proximity, has an impact on my ability to tap into my emotional sort of spectrum or emotionality. And that's after, like, a lot of the work that I still do on myself. I'm just glad I can do it at all. I know some of you out there probably have a tough time just by yourself doing any of that kind of shit. So I want to hear about those experiences, and I was curious to anybody related to that, right? If you feel like you want to, like, say, in the rare instance, because I know it's not like all the time with schizoids, but in the instance that you're able to like say cry or something, if somebody like gets home, do like the waterworks just shut off and like it just goes like, activate defensive protocol, and it's just like everything, just the waterworks shuts off, the even the emotion internally, it's not even like you're just hiding it, right? It's like even internally it just goes that kind of thing. So I was curious about that. I did get a few submissions, not a crazy amount, but hopefully something in there can answer some of those questions. If some of you want to chime in on it in chat, I'd really appreciate it. And as usual, I have to like remind a lot of schizoids that do watch this. Most of them watch it as a VOD later. If you watch the views after, it's like usually like, I don't know, like 100 more people watch it or something later. I think it's because of time differences, especially. But just remember, I do not. How do I put this? I do not care how worthwhile you think your comment is. Just put it there anyway, and then I'll fuck with it. So please, like, whatever thoughts you have in your head about, oh well, I'm not gonna take up space, or I'm not gonna say, well, it's nothing, like it's probably not even, whatever, blah blah blah, whatever rationale you use to like not put your experiences in chat or comments in the YouTube or any of that stuff. Please stop if you can. I'm saying please. It's not a demand of any kind. It makes my life easier because then I have content to work with, and then I don't have to. As I talked last stream, I don't have to get all goddamn depresso and just talk about myself the entire time, which is I don't know how any of you guys enjoy that. Like, it just somebody sticks around, so they must not mind me all just depresso mode. But I'd prefer to hear your depresso modes, so that we can work together, and I can avoid my own for the purposes of actually having like half decent content for you guys to talk about. Let me see here. I don't know. Weird day, man. This little album that Algo gave me it's kind of a banger. Good. This track's called "The Cruelty of the Machine." It's sick. Okay, so I'm just gonna start off by going right into the inbox. Let's see here. So remember, the question was about how physical proximity essentially has an impact with the amount of sort of numb sensation, anhedonia maybe, or almost like a alexithymic sort of like occurrence happens, right? When in closer to proximity to people. Or just when you're engaged with people too, even if it's over the internet, like it's just like, oh, it just shuts down. But here, let me see. Why isn't it? Just be a boomer here for a second. There we go. Okay. So, see here. First one, very short. No, if I understand the question correctly, it seems entirely unrelated to physical proximity. Okay. There, fair enough. Apparently, like I said, different experience, right? In my case, it does have an impact. It's level of engagement and physical proximity makes me like it makes for a really good like clinical advice giver. Like just oh, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you looked at this? Have you looked at that? It's good for that. If somebody wants just like displays of emotional empathy, that's a much tougher time. I'd have to be like wasted or something, and even then, it's like hard. But then, like, what's funny is that after the engagement is gone, like after engagement is over and the proximity is gone, I can then feel like a stronger sense of empathy for the situation because I think about it and I mull it over. And I'm like, yeah, that's I'll just be like, that's fucked. This is grim. This is grim. But a lot of that won't show up when I'm actually in front of the person that needs consoling, if you will, which makes me a pretty good coach or helper for schizoids because I don't think they would want any of that. They probably just want the more dry approach, regardless. I know I'd like that. In any case, see here. Next one. Dear Angst, affect around people, colon. It's different with different people. Harder with family since they have more negative reaction to me. For example, when my dad makes a joke, I don't laugh at all. When I'm angry and they gave me a task to do without asking, I don't express it. I talk in a very muted tone around them and generally am just spacing out. I feel like I'm not allowed to be myself and be happy. It's a very deep and unsettling feeling, as if I've been erased. With friends, it's a bit more easy. I can laugh and be myself. There's still some hindrance. When I'm alone, in my room, locked, I feel myself the most. Not thinking about anyone else makes me feel like me. In a crowd, if I manage to blend in, I feel okay, but try to be covert. If in a group, I generally am quiet and aloof, trying to be in my head so I feel like myself more. I think for me, it boils down to relatability. The more relatable I am to someone, the more I am willing to open myself to them. I'm the most relatable to me, so I feel like me when I'm alone. And since my family isn't close to me, in fact, the opposite, where there's potential harm in being myself, I can't express any emotions, even when I feel them deeply down inside. There we go. Another very good experience. See, what's interesting is, like, that's kind of what I want to hear more of, right? Like, for some Zoids, I hear more like a situation where they might be feeling stuff, but, like, they just can't express it, or just something just doesn't allow it to, bubble to the surface or something, right? That physical proximity, the engagement, the person itself, right? So that's important too. I think in my case, who the person is doesn't really have as much of an impact on how I behave in front of them. It might have an impact on how much I'm listening, how much I'll engage in trying to help them, or something like that, obviously. But it doesn't really, like, what's the word? My closeness to the person doesn't really impact how, like, my demeanor, which can be a problem sometimes, right? Because, like, for a good example, my daughter, she's 13, she's a teen now, and she's got a lot of emotions and stuff going on. She's like me, we're just like, she's got that ADHD action like me, but thankfully she didn't develop all this Zoid shit because her life is very different. But my issue is that, like, if they're having a really tough time, I can absolutely engage and help and discuss and whatever they need, right? Support 100%. But, like, my demeanor, it gets, like, really, like, just kind of numbish, coldish looking. Like, I'm not, like, displaying a bunch of empathy in my face, even if, like, I'm definitely, like, determined by it. And even internally, like, I can kind of engage with the situation a lot better, like, intellectually. But then, like, when I'm alone and I think about the situation, or when I'm like it really hurts me, especially if it's someone I deeply care for, like, obviously my daughter. So, I'll be thinking a lot about their situation and what I can do to help, and it'll feel very emotional. But while it's happening right in front of me, like, say they're crying, like, my brain just switches into, like, help mode for them. And it's weird. It almost feels like my brain goes, oh, you don't matter anymore at all. This matters. Focus. Your emotions, how you negatively feel about what you're viewing right now is irrelevant. That's what it feels like my brain does. And I feel like it's stronger the more I actually care about the person. Which can be, like I said, it could be kind of counterproductive, depending on if, like, the person is looking for, like, displays of empathy, and, like, they want you to cry with them, or they want you to have this tonality in your voice of, like, sympathy, and like, I'll sound just like this, if not more dry. But I'll be doing everything I can to like understand the situation and rectify what I can and alleviate as much pain for them as I can. So it's weird. It's weird. But anyway, let me see. Let me see what else we got here, submission wise. So you got a short one here. Let's see here, Dear Angst. I always, even if they don't put Dear Angst, I just add it. It's like a gimmick. You know, it's like the old Dear Abby newspaper things, but it's like a schizoid version of it. It's stupid, but I have fun with it. And sometimes they do write it in, which is cool. Dear Angst. Yep. I don't like to watch movies, anime, cartoons, or anything else, really, with other people for this exact reason. I just can't feel emotions in the same way if someone is next to me. Alright, very cool. Very interesting. See, that's that one I differ greatly on. That's interesting, because I can still very much feel the emotions that I can connect to a piece of media that I'm showing somebody, right? Like whatever connection I have to that like piece of fiction or whatever it may be, like that doesn't get hindered by a person watching it with me. If anything, it'll get mildly enhanced from my own experience, and then the information they give me, especially if they give me like novel insights, makes my experience enjoyable as well. So yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. Man, I would hate that. I would hate that if showing people like that would make me not want to show anybody anything I like. So I could absolutely understand why, say, someone that feels like that, definitely probably not the kind of person that would be like, hey, I saw this thing, it's really good. I want to see it with you. I want to show it to you. They'd probably be more like comfortable doing something like, oh, here's a link, or you should watch it, and this is why. Check it out. But like, that's it. And that's good enough for them. They don't need to be witness to their witnessing of it. That's something I find particular enjoyment in, is witnessing another person witnessing something that I think has value. And even if they ultimately end up not liking it, I like to hear their novel insights onto like why it wasn't something they enjoyed. One of the things, and it's nobody's fault, right? Because sometimes it's just intuitive. One of the things that just like, it just bores me to tears is when I'm like, but why didn't you like it? And somebody just tells me, I don't know, I just didn't like it. I don't know. I'm like, that's like more disappointing than them not liking. Like, even if I liked it a lot and I'm like, check this out, it's awesome, they watch it and they're like, not my cup of tea. And I'm like, okay, cool, why? I don't know, it's not my thing. That's the only time like it feels like a waste of time. Like I'm like, oh, what a fucking waste of time. If they would have like explained at least in a single paragraph why they didn't like it, or like be like, well, I don't like this and this, this style of this, and it's just, you know, I feel like it's kind of redundant, blah blah blah. Like then I'm like, all right, cool insight. All right, cool, you don't like it, but thanks for the insight. That was cool. Okay. I don't know. Let's see here. What else we got? Got a few more here. I think so. By the way, if anybody's on the server, you can still submit it. You go to the Dear Angst channel, and you can just type whatever into the bot, and then like it'll send it to me in a special channel that only I have access to. Not my mods. Nobody on my team on the server has access to it. Just me. That's it. And I don't read your username out loud. So that's kind of a very schizoid-friendly method of interacting with me if you're a viewer or whatever. Find my... I wish, like, what's funny is that, like, I wish I had more haters because I like pushback, but I don't even think I don't, it's kind of hard to get either, like, lovers or haters when, you know, like the demographic I work with. So it's kind of funny. But at the same time, it makes it like less like amusing because I think it would be fun to like debate or like have people like get mad because I just find it amusing. But it's just then I think about like, do I do that to like do is that something I would like? I don't care about anyone's channel enough to be like typing comments and being a hater. It's like and I think that's probably the same thing for like everyone that watches. It's probably just kind of like, hmm, yeah, I just like this a little bit, or I like this a little bit. It's hard to get anyone saying anything. That's just funny as hell to me. I wonder how many like channels or like actually this is a curious question. Um, I wonder how many channels like smaller ones that stream like this and whatever videos and that get the numbers that I do, which aren't like great, but for a small channel, especially how niche the subject is, it's fine. But I wonder how many people will have like 20, 21 people, 20 something people watching the stream or their stream, and like they'll go like 45 minutes with maybe one, two chats. Even with the person saying like, I'd like to hear your thoughts or whatever. I feel like even a stream that small with like regular people, it would probably still get like a lot more chats. I find that really interesting. I'm wondering if that's just common or if that's specific to this demo because it's like, you know, schizoid stuff and um, kind of hermit like neurodivergent people usually. And sometimes people that might not necessarily be schizoid, but they have like incredibly low sense of self, and they don't think like anything they say is worth, putting on paper. Or and then there's also the ones that are like more paranoid, so they're more like cluster A in a different department, but they still relate to some of this or whatever. So then they don't type for that reason. So yeah, I'm kind of just fucked when it comes to engagement. It's pretty funny. Anyway, enough about that. Um, Let me see here. Oh, here we go. We got some more. Okay, here's a nice long one. Dear Angst, I think when I'm physically with people, my emotional state is like a blank sheet of paper, and the other person's emotions are like paint. If they mellow down their emotions, it's like they make the paint watery. One stroke, it gradually seeps into the paper. If it's strong emotions, it's like putting a blot of paint without thinning it out. It just stays on top of the paper. My affective empathy is kind of similar to how my emotions work, but depends more on my state of mind. If I'm well rested and calm, it behaves similarly. But if I'm not, my reaction will be stronger, mostly stress from not knowing what to do. I'll reflexively try to avoid dwelling into the emotional part any way I could, usually using inappropriate humor. I tried to control myself, but in extreme cases, I've overreacted to the situations and felt guilty and ashamed to have a lack of empathy. When I'm alone, I don't have much emotions, except when I read books or watch shows. I'll try to find parallels between my situation and the character situations and see them act out my emotions. Basically, similar to how my emotional state is often being painted on with others' emotions. I paint my emotions onto fictional characters. The helpful thing is that I don't dwell in emotions a lot in situations that don't allow for it. Apart from physiological responses like stress and panic and self disgust. The detrimental thing is that I hurt a lot of people, and every time I do that, it triggers my feelings of self disgust. There you go, right? I've had that kind of situation happen before, where my kind of clinical approach to like people's problems in the past, which I've improved significantly, has been like met with like causing further harm to the person or further distress. Yeah, I do feel a certain level of guilt because of that, and also a certain level of the defenses kick off of like I shouldn't have engaged with this to begin with. This was a bad idea. What was I thinking? Trying to help. I am a fool. Um, and things of that nature. Right. I don't usually go like, well, they're not listening to me, and I know better. blah blah blah. Like that's not, that might have been me like when I was like 20 or 19. But at this age especially, it's more like a feeling of like I shouldn't have engaged, I shouldn't have tried to help. They would have been better off without my help, and thoughts like that. Um, and it can expand to like more meta stuff too, especially like the channel, my work, the work I do, and the conversations I have with Zoids that like hit me up, and they need help, and they have questions, and I can answer a few, um, or make a little time for one of them or something. Um, I'll feel like, am I doing enough? Is this right? Is this correct? And things of that nature. So yeah, and it's funny because like they'll see me and they'll just think like, oh, this guy's just like totally disengaged, uncomfortable. And it's like, yeah, like emotionally disengaged. And I'm like, yeah, at the moment that's true, but later I will definitely uh, mull it over. I'll ponder your situation that might have been emotionally charged for you, and then I'll think about uh, how how I can like make improvements to how I approach that, stuff like that. I'm constantly striving to just improve my ability to console the human mind to whatever unprofessional degree that I can. That gets complicated. But in any case, I always use in any case, so you can just like take shots after a while. It's like my go-to for trying to get my train train. Um, yeah, I guess my mind train or whatever, my thought train. What did they say? My train of thought. Jesus, on the rails again. Um, it's interesting though, because like I see this dynamic while I read through that one. You have the Zoids that describe, oh, I feel more emotions when I'm alone, and the other ones are like I feel less. So that's really interesting. But then, what kind, right? Like, I would say I feel more distress around people, as far as like discomfort, frustration. But I don't know that I get more depressed when I'm by myself or when I'm. No, I definitely don't get more depressed when I'm if I'm by myself, just engaged in some kind of special interest. I don't know. That's a tough one to think about. With that being said, says Khalil. Well, there you go. Are you gonna follow that up with anything? With that being said, just sits there quietly nodding. It's funny. Um, what else we got here? Next one. We got two short ones left. And remember, any of you guys listening, get on the Zoidoid. If you're already there, you already have the Schizoid droid, you went through the application process or whatever, just go to Dear Angst, type in your answer to the question, which is about that kind of stuff. And there you go. Go to phrases. Yeah, I have like a few go to phrases. I don't know. Is that a common thing with some Zoids to have like these kind of go to like automatic phrases to like to do the communication to make to do a communication? I wonder if that's common. Um, Dear Angst, I have always felt like there is no room for my feelings in the presence of others. That feeling slightly lessens when alone, but never really goes away. Yep, yep. I can definitely vibe with that. It just depends, right? Like for example, for me, anger, um, I can be boiling hot inside, and then like you just look at me, and I just look like I'm tired, and I'm just really quiet and just sitting there. But I'm actually like incredibly frustrated and angry with somebody, and something they participated in or engaged in that's put into question some aspect of myself that I'm very sure of. That can be one of the forms of negative interpersonal interactions that I can have. Especially since internally I strive so hard to like be a certain way, even if I constantly question even that, right? My ability to even make it not a pipe dream. Um, Last one we got here, and it doesn't have to be the last one, like I said. You can always submit. Um, Dear Inks, with people around, not just emotions, but whole potency of experience reduces. If there are a lot of them, and for a while, a lot of them, and for a while, like in public, reduction becomes crushing, and the world breaks down. That introduces something that might be an emotion. It is experienced as negative, so I suppose it must be an emotion. Yeah, it's that one's that's like how do you explain that emotion to somebody, right? If somebody were to ask me, "Oh, what does that like schizoid sort of void or darkness or emptiness feel like? Like what emotion does that evoke?" It's a hard question to answer. It's like, well, it's not quite sadness, but it's also not quite anger, but I know it's definitely not joy. It might not be any of those things. All I know is that I am not a fan. I do not like it. But as far as describing the emotion of lacking emotion, that you being um, bothered by the fact that you are not feeling things you should be feeling, not by anyone else's standard, but by your own standard. You're like, I want to feel bad about this because I know it is. And I can tell I believe and I can tell it's bad to me and this thing is bad and I should be angry or saddened. But I'm sitting here like feeling very little. Um, and I hate it because that's not how I want to feel, which is weird because you're not feeling much. So, and then I think part of the pain that kind of comes with it of not being able to tap into emotional substance inside of yourself very easily and expressing it like outwardly doing it is because it doesn't allow for like certain like gauges to like vent and release. So then you're just kind of stuck like with it in you, and it feels like somebody like put a bunch of like anesthesia, heartache or heartbreak. No. It feels like somebody like you're hurting inside, but somebody put a bunch of anesthesia in there, and so like all you feel is the pressure. Does that make sense? Like, have you ever, for any of you guys that have ever had like like a what would it be surgery that would be considered like same it's not same day outpatient surgery or whatever, even like dentists, let's just say dental work, like uh you get something done where like they numb a part of your body out and but you could still like feel the tug from like what they're doing. So like if you're doing like a root canal or some shit, right, your whole fucking face is like completely numb. And then when they're drilling and just like get in there and fucking with your gums, something that would be agonizing, right, where you're not on anesthesia, you still feel that pressure. And sometimes even the dentist or the doctor, depending on what you're doing, will say you're going to feel a little bit of pressure, right? That's that's kind of how I would describe that feeling of there's something going awry inside, but I can't feel it. It's pressure, right? And the frustrating part is if you live with that for a long time, you know that that pressure is going to turn into pain later, but you won't once it comes to fruition, you might forget or never realize where it came from or why it's happening. Um, because the event passed, um, or you never made the association, right? It's again, but I think it's a decent metaphor actually about the like Novocaine or whatever, or some kind of anesthesia, local anesthesia that's injected in your face. And, you know, because if you got dental work done, yeah, you won't feel shit and you'll just feel the pressure. But then, like, the next day, your fucking mouth's gonna hurt like a son of a bitch. You're gonna have to be taking ibuprofens and all this stuff because your shit's gonna be all inflamed. Your gums are all fucking like, all fucked up and hurting. They're like bleeding and shit, depending on the kind of work you got done. And it's kind of like that, I would say. I think that's a decent way to. And I think one of the best things a schizoid can do is sort of recognize the pressure when it's happening. And then that way, when the pain does come, if it comes, they'll know where to plug it in, right? And then it won't be such a like confusing labyrinth of like why do I feel like absolutely like shit like today nothing happened today. I'm just nothing, but it could have been the thing that happened 2 days ago or 5 days ago just finally like pushing its way to the surface, but the association isn't there. You just end up like more confused, perplexed, or bothered by it's a appearance. It's an appearance. Interesting. I don't know. Does anybody know what I'm talking about, or is it just a me thing? It's just me. That's just me. I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense. I know everyone's experience is different. I feel like it's even easier for it to go into like stasis, like a negative emotion or something, go into like a stasis like state if I'm like around people more. So yeah, I feel like it would be something like that. Like there would be some kind of negative amount of stress, even like a traumatic event, right? Were it to happen in front of me. And I've had traumatic events happen in front of me. I won't feel the gravity of it until much, much later. I'm just loose associating it all to the stuff I got going on in my head. Yeah, that's fair. Vibe with that. But yeah, like I could be in a situation that's like pretty bad, or I witness something that's not so great. And as it's happening, just be like, okay, what should I do? And then I just do it. And then like 3 days later, I'm just like I feel like complete shit. I'll have like a sudden like mini breakdown that I'll like be like, what is this? What is this? Why did this stupid thing that just happened just now like affect me this deeply? What? That doesn't make sense. But and so it'll put me in that weird state of like that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. But it does when you know where it's actually coming from. Like it's some subconscious action. It's pretty out there. I had a relative die a long time ago, but I only realized I'm sad about it years later. Yeah, it could take that long. It could take that long. I've been going through that myself, uh, with some stuff. Yeah, I'm just loose. Oh yeah, well, I missed that. Proves okay. That's very relatable. Yeah, yeah. So it is something that I think a lot of schizoids probably deal with, and it's kind of weird because like say like Zen, like you said, that your relative died a long time ago, but you're only sad about it years later. It's like imagine like you suddenly like get this wave of some realization, something clicks, and you're just just really really affected by it. What are you gonna do? Like you're gonna go tell, oh I don't know, I've just been depressed all week about my uncle dying, and they're like, oh, when did he die? They're like 10 years ago. I didn't feel it till now. Who's gonna understand that? Like people are just gonna be like, "Huh? What? Isn't it? Aren't you supposed to be over it, not just starting grief?" It's like shit's in reverse sometimes. It's like awareness without context, seeing something from the corner of your eye, but not when you look directly at it. It leaves you at a loss for what to do with it. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Very much so, Don. Solar. I almost got killed by a car and didn't clue in or realize how close of a call it really was until a couple of days later. And then you got like, did you feel like shook up? I'm guessing like days later you like shook up. You're like, I'm wondering, like, was it immediate? Like you knew why? What was got you shook up, or did you? It take a while to figure out? Oh, it had to do with like me almost getting killed. That was years ago. Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, see, there's long gaps sometimes. Yeah, it was triggered by random memory. Yeah, yeah. See, the other day I had that happen. Um, and I've been having that happen a lot since I'm doing EMDR and stuff with my psychologist. But like the other day, I think not the other day, it was like weeks ago. I was on stream when I was talking about like that memory of like that kid that I used to hang out with. I think his name was like I think his name was like Giovanni or something. I think that was the name. I'm not sure. And that I used to play video games with him, and like that's the reason we hung out is because we had mutual interest in like games. And I was like, I was like 12 or 13 or something, maybe. Or maybe no, more like 11 or 12, maybe. And then like I was talking about it on stream, like, oh yeah, I had this thing happen where like he kind of just like stopped like talking to him or whatever, and then like a year or two later or something, like their mom shows up and they're like, oh, remember I know my son used to like hang out with your son a lot and some bad stuff happened and he took a really bad spill and like he has like brain damage now and he wanted to like come see his friend that he kind of has memories of like playing video games and stuff. And oh shoot, my daughter, hold on. Sorry about that. But yeah, and so that was years ago, right? The thing of that memory of like, and I just remember that like I like recollected. I'm like, wait a minute, like I remember I was like, even when I was a kid and this happened, obviously that's pretty traumatic, right? Like, hey, here's your like guy, like your bud you used to like play games with that kind of just fell off the map and then like, oh, here he is, and he's like talking different, he's all like messed up, like he's got like a crazy scar on his head, like you go to his house because you're like, oh yeah, let's play games again, and then like he just can't really play anymore. He's not quite like communicating like he used to. Like, and then I was explaining how like the next time my mom was like, "Oh, did you want to go see him again?" I was like, "No, I I'm not comfortable. I don't want to." And at the time, I wasn't like fucked up about it. I just felt kind of like, that's weird. And then it was like when I talked about it on stream, I got like this wave of just like fucking sadness. And I was like, oh shit, what the fuck? And so, I mentioned it on a stream before, I think, but yeah, it was just like I talked about it really casually on stream. It wasn't like I had been thinking about it. It was just like, oh yeah, I had this thing happen, and then it was like related tangentially or something, and I was just like, what the fuck? And that's because I've been like tapping on with like the emotions and like memories and shit now, and like yeah, that shit was fucked. Like that shit was fucked. Because I got like flashes of like remembering his like face and his voice being all like different, and then I was like, damn, that's fucked up. That's a fucked up thing to like go through, right? And then I felt worse because I was like, man, like I just like fucking zoided out of that situation. Like, holy shit. Like, it wasn't like, oh man, I'm gonna be there for like this guy I was cool with for like a long time, and we played games. I'm gonna be there for him and help him out. And he said that he liked watching me play because he couldn't really play anymore, like too well. And like instead of like me being like, I'm gonna go over there and like, yeah, play for sure. He's just watching. You know, it's fucked what happened. I'm just like, I'm confused. I'm staying home now, and then, you know, and I'm thinking, I'm like, fuck. Hope they're okay out there if they're still around. It's like I didn't even think about that day until like, you know, that stream. It's crazy. I'm currently dealing with that right now. Some other stuff. Pretty wild. Um, so I tell the schizoids, man, if you decide, hey, I want to do some shit, like I want to find myself or whatever. Uh, it ain't pretty. It ain't always pretty finding yourself. Right? So that's a challenge. Find yourself or whatever. It's very easy for me to dissociate from emotions in the moment, especially if something charged with emotions. It happens instantly and subconsciously, so I didn't realize it. It's mad skill. Yeah, it's mad skill till it creeps up on you later, like 15 years later. It's like, or 25 years later, and then you're like, how do I process this? The fuck? Why am I processing this like now? Um, So like yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy process. That's why we need to support each other, Zoids. Like man, that's why we need to be there for each other for that kind of shit, man. Like, cause it ain't nobody else gonna do it. I'll tell you that. Um, just pass it forward and all that kind of shit. If you manage to overcome some of this stuff, I'm always hoping that like the Zoids on the server that have been there for a long time that have been making like some progress and stuff. I'm always hoping that they make the decision on their own volition to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stick around here and like try to help out with some of the the younger ones or the ones that are barely going through the motions, like you know, making a fucking friend that they can connect to for the first time in like their life, you know, at 25, 53 years of catch up. I don't know, man. After after that, if it's that many years of catch up done, maybe you don't want to catch up. All I'm saying, man, maybe it's for the best. That's a lot of stuff to catch up. You know, I'm doing the 40, and I'm having a rough of it. But yeah, maybe you're a stronger person. Just tenacious fuck. Um. Oh, I'm still. But but yeah. Anybody in chat want to contribute to this subject? Whether it was the subject of physical proximity. You don't want all that at once. I'm getting like chunks of it at once. It's like it's fucked. Um, it's weird because it's not like repressed memories, right? It's like, oh yeah, these memories are available, and then it's like, you know, you go for years when you think back at it, you go, that was a thing that happened. Hmm, interesting. But now you think back at it, and you're like, why am I handshaking? What's happening? And that kind of shit. Hey, what's happening? What is this? Like, it's pretty rough. Pretty rough. Come on, guys, give me something to work here. I feel bad for younger
Well, I
Zoids.
mean, I'm here in chat, but I missed a lot of the discussion. So,
You always show up
I know
late, fucking guy.
I know you were talking about you had some memories that you came back with some feelings, and you're talking about your bro that something happened to him or something. I guess.
But I was
disabled.
like 12 or something.
Right. Yeah. Is
And
he
like,
still around? I mean, you
I
talked to the
don't
fellow,
know. I don't want to. That's
You
scary.
don't want to.
No, that's terrifying. Like, what am I gonna do? Like 20 something years later, what am I gonna do? Like,
you just be like, look, bro, I'm schizoid. I'm only just now processing this shit.
what if like I find out like, oh, he like
wanted to say, hey.
What if I found out? Oh yeah, 5 years. He was like 5 years later. He couldn't cope with his disability and he fucking killed himself.
I know, right?
Like, do I want that? Do I need that?
I know, right? I know.
Do I really want to find that out?
Actually, the answer to that question is probably yes. You'll probably figure that out within a year or two. So
no,
it's not going to be
because they're not within proximity.
Hey, it's not going to be for me to decide.
How am I going to find out? I'm not deciding that
because it's going to be feelings.
No, I don't want to know. At this point,
well, I know you don't want to. Obviously, you're a Zoid. That's why we.
No, but what I'm saying is that like it just wouldn't. Like I'm dealing with emotions right now from memories that are actually useful for me to deal with. I'm dealing with the memory. But
they're all useful, bro.
Yeah. No, but I'm dealing with the memory. Why the fuck would I seek out this person? Oh, hey, remember me when we were like 12? I decided I don't want to hang out with you anymore because it was weird and I didn't understand why. Hey, now that we're both 40 now, how's your life doing? Like,
hey, I didn't know that's what happened.
Oh, okay, you didn't hear the story. You didn't hear the story. Fucking chiming in when you don't know shit, Withers.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway,
yeah, I mean, even so, I mean, like if you're saying that some shit happened there and it's really hitting you hard,
I was 12.
There,
I was 12, and
it's
grim. It was something grim that happened that I should have processed then.
Right.
Or at least like a year later, not like when I'm fucking 39.
Yeah,
like,
I know. I hear you.
What the hell? And so
bizarre happenings.
Yeah, and it's been a new thing with me, like with my psych. We're like doing EMDR, so like I keep it's not even resurfacing memories. It's more like, oh, this memory hurts now. Why is it hot?
No, I understand what you mean. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Right. It's resurfacing feelings. It's the feelings are happening. A delayed feeling. Yeah.
I was aloof and ambivalent about this memory. I am no longer. Away with you, sir, memory. Away with you.
And it's probably just one of probably a lot, maybe that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty mentally ill, so like I'm assuming it's probably quite a bit. Let me see here. I got stuff in chat. Well, hold on. I got chat here. Let's see here. We got what Zen was saying. I feel bad for younger Zoids a bit because I was clueless at their age, and it came back to bite much later. Zoid fog. Well, I'd rather be like. I'd rather they not be clueless early. Trust me, it's better to start getting this shit moving in your 20s, not wait till you're like 40, like me. See your journeys or adventures and such. Andrew says, I still can only remember things in a detached, unemotional kind of way. I've thought lately about some night my sister was trying to hide my brother in the closet from my mom one night or something. He was super drunk. She probably was too. I'm still living with my mom and stepdad right now. She's still severely alcoholic, and I kind of stopped seeing how messed up it is until recently. Yeah, that's like that kind of weird shit that like probably like for some Zoids it probably like exacerbated whatever dissociation related sort of disconnect trauma they were already dealing with because of various other issues that I discuss all the time. Let's see here. Same here as then. Still trying to figure it out. There's a stuck emotional charge behind each of these memories, even if you don't feel it. That's what you're after, not the event. Yeah. No, yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy weird thing. But I was hold on. I remember a metric shit ton of heartbreaking shit. There's no closure and no reason. It's just there, and I don't want to talk about it. Fair. But yeah, there was like when I was talking to my psych about like memories I have to do, and I won't get into details because I know it's just triggering for a lot of people, but a lot of the CSA stuff that I'm dealing with right now, um, like I was just like I was befuddled because I was like I have all these like I have I have very few memories of like the stuff that transpired. The memories I do have are not they're graphic and that's not okay. But I'm like fairly ambivalent about them. Like it's that feeling of like, oh, it's a thing that happened. And and so then I'm starting to like get affected by some of those memories that I was ambivalent of, right? And then I think, and this is grim, but then I think how much worse was this? That like on top of the like the emotional disconnect from such a memory, there's also like the possibility of like repressed memories in the bag that like are so disconnected from me by not just a layer of sort of dissociated ambivalence, but also like more shit covering it. Because I find it weird that like I'm like, well, I remember this and this and this, but I don't remember a bunch of other stuff and a bunch of details, and I don't remember even like major details. But I remember some major details, but not others.
So
And
I'll
it's
just
like,
jump in
that's weird.
right quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, it is kind of weird, but I mean, at the same time, you're not going to remember a whole lot of shit. And the way memory works
Mm-hmm.
is that even when you try to remember shit, even that's you fairly remember fairly well, your brain is still making a reconstruction of the
Oh no, yeah,
memory.
yeah.
It's
Don't
not
you don't have to
actually a
explain
memory
to me how
state.
memory works.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so if there is something there or whatever, I mean, it's going to
Oh,
be a
it's gonna be yeah, it's
reconstruction.
gonna be a
So,
reconstruction or whatever. I
I
I
mean,
understand that it's not like fucking
yeah,
actual recordings, but
right.
my point is that I do believe that some of the stuff that are closer to the recordings are the kind of physiological reactions you get to it. I feel like that's closer to whatever truth occurred. Um, because like it's that whole like the classic, and I know some people have issues with it, but that whole classic book and idea of like the body keeps the score or whatever.
No,
Um,
no, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
body,
So
it's at least someone does, yeah.
yeah, and so like it has something to do with that for sure.
Hmm.
Like, cause I was talking about well here's a again I'm not gonna go into deets, but I had really odd behavior associated to that history of CSA um, growing up after that. Like I had, and because I was mostly alone, I still was like, uh, I was, I was participating in like odd behaviors, to say the least, and they were connected to that. But even as they were happening, I don't have any memories as to why I was participating in weird behaviors that were connected to it, and it was almost like when it was happening, I didn't even understand what what I was doing and thinking about, and like what was fucking with my head. It's like it's so crazy. It's the weirdest shit. And so then like I've been thinking about like why was like why was I thinking about that shit like weird shit, and then or doing weird shit, and then I just like it's weird because I can't figure it out. Like I just go like, what was the thought process there? I mean, I had a thought process for a lot of shit, but what the fuck was that? Like I can't even connect to it. I remember. Oh, no, I say here. I've had random smells unlock a bunch of memories all of a sudden. It's like deja vu. Don, I have so many blanks with only a few clear recalls, more impressions than anything. Yeah, yeah, but no clear emotions attached. Yeah, that's another problem. Like it's like why did like because this is what's scary to me is I do believe that a lot of what like allows a memory to construct or to have like an impression that you can later use to reconstruct a past event or whatever however you want to call it. I don't think those signifiers, those milestones or whatever, I don't they there has to be an emotional charge associated to it of some kind, whether it's positive or negative, for that shit to get like a pin on it, right? And when most of the time you're kind of like emotionally like, well, you're not going to really produce that many memories, or you're going to have a tough time having access to being able to even make those reconstructions happen because there's no like emotion there. So then some of the memories of that kind of stuff that I have is very vivid, very like very vivid. And so I think, what was the emotion there? I don't know what it was, but it sure shit was strong enough to create this. Right. And then I'm just like, it's kind of spooky. Because I'm like, why do I have these like why remember this? But I can't remember any of this. Like that's weird. Like I can't remember like, I don't know, like any of the things we did during Christmas. Like in my family. For like my entire childhood. Like I don't remember shit about that. But some of this stuff, oof, it's like sharp. It's like an HD. Wild. So, yeah, grim shit. Sorry, guys. See?
Will you ever talk to your mom and dad about like what you did during Christmas? I mean, like, was there something going on during Christmas that was you think would be blocking out or
No,
something
it's just
there?
I was probably pretty indifferent or ambivalent about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
All I remember is like some of the cool gifts I got, and then what I did with those gifts afterward. And then, as far as like, but not even like when or how I did them. It'll be like, oh yeah, I think when I was this old, I got, you know, Wario World, and it was awesome. And I have like all these memories about Wario World and playing it, and I probably have like stronger memories about like where, like I could probably pick up a copy of Wario World right now, and like memories will start like clicking really quickly about like where the secrets are and the little hidden areas. And like, but if you ask me what was happening in your life during
Are we talking about
these years, these years of Wario World, let's see your Wario World you spent. I'm like, I don't know. I was playing Wario World.
mm-hmm.
But like, yeah. So
It was a pretty good game.
Wario World's awesome. It was Super Mario Land 3 Wario World. Fucking awesome game. It was hilarious too. Do you remember it? Like, I could talk about it all day. Like, do you remember it at all, Wario World?
I don't remember it too well, but
It
I
was
have vague
so
recollections.
good. Like it was so good because
Yeah.
it.
No, I
I'm
agree with you.
gonna
I
go
enjoyed
a
it
little
very much.
nerd talk. Sorry, really quick, because this is what I mean. Like I get like, you know how people will talk about like, yeah, there was this one time that me and my dad or me and my brother and me and my like I I, I got none of that. But I can tell you like Wario World, and then I feel like the surge of like kind
Wait,
of,
so remind me, do you have siblings?
yeah, I have a sister. We're
No.
only like
And
I think
how?
like a year apart or something, or two
Oh,
years
oh,
apart.
okay. Yeah.
She's 2 years
You
younger
don't
than
ever
me.
mention her. That is odd. So yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of memories with her, or what?
I have a few random memories of playing with her when I was younger. I have like younger memories. A couple of memories of that were kind of negative. Some that were kind of interesting and positive, but they were all associated to my special interests in some capacity for the most part.
Hmm.
But as I was saying, like I start talking about Wario World and I get kind of excited. Like I feel like a little surge of dopamine or some shit. Like I like it makes no goddamn sense. Like and like for example, Wario World. Like right now I want to talk about Wario World because the fucking
Mm-hmm.
like it had so many cool mechanics and weird stuff in it. Because the first two, I'm gonna do it. I gotta do it. So the first two games were Super Mario Land 1 and 2. Those were on the original Game Boy, and then you had Super Mario Land 3, Wario World, right? And that game was fucking god tier because you played, instead of the super bouncy Mario, you played this like fucking like just little chode of a guy with like, it's all wide around, that's just like has like the most unwholesome motivations. Like literally he just wants to his goal in the game is I want to get really fucking rich and buy the biggest fucking house castle. Like,
That's right. I forgot about
yeah,
that.
like
Yeah,
he's
that
like that was
was
his
it.
goal in the game. Literally, that was his
Yeah, yeah,
goal. I want to have
it
the
was.
biggest fucking castle, and I want to be
And I
rich as
got the
hell.
biggest castle, as a matter of fact.
Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't a castle if you got the biggest one, because
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
there was
All
a
right. Good
secret
enough.
true ending. So you
Okay.
go through the levels like, and he doesn't like jump on people. He tackles them. So like he runs and charges and smashes into them, and into
With his
walls and
shoulder,
stuff.
wasn't it?
Yeah, he would like charge at him with his
Right.
shoulder and fuck him
Yeah.
up. And he didn't like pick shit up and throw it. He didn't jump. He could, but he didn't do anything. You would get hurt sometimes, and so you had to just smash through shit. And there would be all these secret treasures on the different stages, right? And you'd find these little treasures, and they would just be like a golden cup, a diamond necklace, and all this shit, right? And so you'd amass all these fucking treasures, and each level had one treasure. So it would tell you if you didn't collect it or not. And you had all these stages, and so you'd have to go back to the old ones to like find the treasure you missed, right? And if you get, and it also took into account how many coins, right, you've gotten, right? So in Wario World, the coins didn't like, you didn't get a life because you got 100 coins. The coins couldn't even like really be spent on much. I think there was some gambling games or like weird little gambling games that Wario could play to like get more money, right? And and so by the end of the game, uh you have this like the whole point is you want this genie lamp, right? Or you get this genie lamp, and the genie basically tells you at the end of the game when you beat it, he says, I can give you whatever you want, but the genie's greedy, and he says, the more treasure you sacrifice to me and gold, the bigger the wish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then like it would like cash in all of your treasures. It'd be like cha-ching, 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 and they'd all be worth different amounts of coins. And it would be like cha-ching, 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 and then it would be like it would add all the coins you collected throughout the whole game, and it would just give you like a big like amount, like the big amount of coins. And depending on how many coins you had at the end of the game after you beat it, the genie would give you a bigger wish. Now, all Wario wanted was a big fucking castle, right? With his fucking emblem on top of it, just the most
With the W on
fucking
top.
like just the most ridiculous shit, like like nonsense that he wanted. He was just like he just wanted fucking thing. And if you didn't have very many coins, even if you beat the game but you didn't collect a lot of treasures, he'd end up miserable. They give him like a fucking like a tree house, or like a, or he'd end up with like a fucking like a apartment or something. Like it's just something like not very impressive or interesting for him. And then I think it would be like if it would go from like a house to like a condo to a house to like a mansion to eventually a castle, and then it could be a castle with like more towers and bigger.
Right, that's what I got.
Yeah, yeah. And so you got like all the, but if you collected every fucking treasure and you also collected like, I think it was like 10,000 coins along the way, or some number like that, and you give them all that shit, the genie gives you the moon. And it's like,
I may have got the moon. Yeah.
oh, stop with her. Stop trying to be cool. I got the moon. Now I remember. Shut up.
If I did, I would have only got it because like
Shut
Nintendo
up. You would have
Power,
remembered. You would have remembered the moon. But anyway, so you get the moon. You get more than Wario ever bargained for, and he gets the fucking moon, and it's got a big W flag on it, and it even has his fucking face like carved into it.
Right.
Now.
It's not just on it. It's like right. It's
yeah,
like
his face is just carved into the fucking moon.
Right. He is the man in the moon.
Yeah, he gets a fucking moon. Like, it's such a funny game, man. Such a crazy. I have this sequel. They have it. I never played through the sequel. It's kind of interesting. It's for Game Boy Color. I haven't played it.
I think his moon also has like air on it too. It's not just the moon. He's not like up there on a fucking spacesuit. He's up there with like air and shit, isn't he?
I don't remember. It's like he has a castle on the moon now. He has a castle on the moon, and he has the fucking moon. The woon, if you will. Yeah, the
In
moon,
Mario
big
World,
W.
you can just be on the moon because that's even an Odyssey. It's just an established thing that you.
Yeah,
Can
yeah,
do.
you could be, but Wario gets to own the moon. The genie gives him the moon and gives
Right.
him a big ass castle on the moon. Fucking, I think though, I don't remember, but I think it all ends up being bullshit because it's Wario. I think it, like, no matter what, it
I
was
just
just some
thought about
dream.
this.
I think he
So-
wakes up and he's just like pissed because it was all a dream and he doesn't get
So
shit.
stay with me. Is Wario the Andrew Tate of Mario Land?
I don't know. He's just, I don't know much about Wario's actual character lore. All I know is he's the antithesis
Oh,
to
he's a
Mario.
yeah. He's right. He's
And
the
there's
right, he's the-
Waluigi, and they're just
Yeah.
like, he's just the opposite of Mario. He's not heroic. He's kind of a coward. He's self-interested.
You know, yeah.
He's
exactly.
he's like he wants to just make money and he likes status.
Yeah.
And but he doesn't like he wants to do it by
They
like
never explain
hook and
why
crook.
he wants all this status
He's
and
just
money, though.
it's just he's a Mario character. It's just, it's just
I
popcorn
know.
shit. I don't know. Maybe there is some lore. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna now I'm gonna watch some video essays on fucking Wario because I'm actually curious, right? Because like, what the hell is Wario's whole deal? Like, there's also the WarioWare games. If you ever played those,
Well, obviously, I'm getting at is he trying to get Princess Peach to get with him because he's getting his status
they
and
never
shit or
show
whatever?
signs of that.
I don't think
Okay.
he even interacts with Peach like at all.
Yeah,
Besides
I
this
mean,
bullshit
in the
one.
WarioWare games, like his whole thing in the Smash, like he just for some reason wears like a helmet and he's got his mustache and he's like, and he's got a fucking motorcycle, and he's just like, fucking ripping the road up with his motorcycle, just being like an obnoxious piece of shit, like.
Right.
I
That
remember a Wii game where he was like in Pirate Land with completely new characters, and all he wanted was the money.
Yeah, that's it. He's just greedy. He wants all the money, 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 money. He's like Mr. Krabs or some shit. Like he's just like an evil Mr.
Shakedown or
Krabs.
something. It's like Wario Shakedown or something.
Did you play this right when it came out, more or less? That's what's funny is that like, it was one of those accidental.
Yeah, Wario Land Shakedown.
Yeah, that one was cool. I played a lot of Wario games. Yeah, he's like my favorite of the Mario characters. I really like Wario. He's hilarious. But yeah, I did play it, I think, when it came out. No, actually it wasn't when it came. I'm not sure. All I know is that when I got that game, that wasn't the game I asked for. That was one of the few times that what my dad what the present I got turned out awesome.
Way better.
Most of the time I made do, right?
Yeah.
But
You know what's funny is I
yeah.
bet that's probably why I got Wario World, or I ended up with it from somebody else.
It was
'cause
probably
it's
not very
in the bargain
popular.
bin or some shit
Yeah,
or
that's
something.
some fucking bargain bin treasure. Yeah, my two favorite Game Boy original games were that game and Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden. Oh my god, it was Ninja Gaiden Shadow.
Yeah, I know, you
Ninja
played
Gaiden
it the other
Shadow.
day, whatever
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was, yeah.
Those two were like my jam. Fucking non-stop play
Yeah.
that shit.
I
on the
love
Game Boy.
my
my big old
Metroid
brick
on the
Game
Game
Boy.
Boy.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Those
Yeah, the
were-
Metroid
yeah.
2, I think it was, or Metroid.
Yeah, number 2, yeah.
Metroid 2, I think it was. Yeah.
Return of Samus. It was
Return of
arguably
Samus.
the where she really took off. I mean, like the first one was fairly
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
but
Return of Samus was good.
the better controls and everything in number 2 really
Yeah.
took her off.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I remember all that shit about Wario World.
I remember Metroid 2 fucking the way you're talking about. You remember fucking Wario. Like I could fucking go and fucking
Ask
get
me what-
all the secrets, all the fucking missiles and shit probably tomorrow.
Ask me what my parents did at bedtime, like around the same age, or what they
They
told
made
me.
mac and cheese.
I was about to say, what the fuck? Why is that going?
Like, none of that shit's like fucking registered at all in my brain. I'm just like,
They had like
I
a
could
stove
tell
in
you
a
about
room
my
and they made
parents,
mac and
yeah.
cheese.
I
I can
remember.
tell you about that.
I remember my mom used to give me a big bowl of mashed potato. I think back on it, I'm like, that's so fucking horrible and unhealthy. Like, she would
So
give
come
me
on,
this.
bro. What kind of interest that did your
She'd
parents
give me a
have? Come
big
on, you know
fucking
generally.
bowl of mashed potatoes, but not like the powder kind. She'd like fucking mash actual
Actually
potatoes
mash 'em, yeah,
and
yeah.
fucking lather that shit in butter and seasoning, and then she'd fucking give me a big ass bowl of mashed potatoes for dinner. Cause like I don't like, and I would just be like, I don't like the vegetables, and she'd just not give them to me, and just let me eat just a bowl of potatoes. I'm just like, that's fucking terrible. Oh, fucking nothing, just potatoes. Can you imagine? No wonder I was a fucking fat kid. Like, just
I was about to say, yeah, for
all
sure,
this-
for real, Jesus.
yeah, just a big fucking bowl of mashed potatoes with butter in it.
Mhm.
That was dinner, and then like orange drink or grape drink.
Jesus Christ, holy fuck.
Oh
God.
man, so fucking bad. I don't know how I didn't
I
become
mean,
like a diabetic child or something.
there's a
Mhm.
lot of specific memories I don't remember in presence of other people,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of memories I recall of me when I was alone. Although I know that there is a lot of other memories of me, like being around my family, for example, and places we've been to
Yeah,
that I just can't recall off the top of my head. And I
yeah,
mentioned that, and my father took great offense to that. My brother took great
oh
offense to that.
yeah, so
But
funny.
when I said that in the presence of my brother and my mom, and my brother got just as angry as my father did, but my mom was immediately just like, "Yeah, I can see why you would say that," and I'm just a little bit taken aback. Like, I I'm surprised that you're so understanding and you actually do understand.
Yeah, it is
Can you repeat
surprising.
that just for me? I missed what it was.
The whole thing.
No, I'm
Just a
saying
little, just briefly.
I'm saying it's like I mentioned in the presence of my brother and my mother how there's a lot of memories I just simply don't recall, and it's
Oh,
just
okay.
genuinely I just can't recall them for
And they
whatever
were
reason.
offended, and she
Right.
was understanding.
My brother was
Oh,
offended, and
yeah.
my mom was like, "No, I can see why you say that," and
Yeah.
So
I'm
Well, it's
just a
funny
weird.
you
little
mentioned
taken
that.
aback.
Yeah, my mom and my sister also exclaimed somewhat of that kind of shit, and I'm just
What?
like, man, like they're talking about they never doing anything and all this shit and everything. I'm like, motherfucker, we were busy all the fucking time, going places, doing shit, just things. And I was like, look, like you guys did tend to do a little bit less than I did, a little bit less. But I mean, we were going places, doing shit, just all the fuck. I was fucking busier than motherfucking bee, especially from 14 onward. From 14 to 18, I was fucking
So what were you doing? I
nonstop,
was
go, go,
trying. I
go.
was go out with girls.
Dude, I'll just tell you exactly what the fuck I was doing. I mean, you fucking you wake up, you go to school, you come back, you fucking go to practice of either fucking wrestling or fucking lift some weights or fucking go to cross country or go to fucking track or go to soccer, whichever one the season is, or you're lifting weights in between, and then you fucking go to work, and then you fucking come home, you do some fucking homework, or you play some fucking Master of Orion or whatever the fuck you're playing right there, and I'll get on the internet, try to find some naked images of
Okay.
hentai or some shit, you know. So,
So fucking
um,
funny.
I know,
Dude, you're
right?
hilarious, dude. What the fuck is
um,
this? It's like,
and
did you
then
enjoy?
wake up.
Did you have a happy life with us? No, I didn't feel much at all. Just kind of,
I mean, I don't see. That's the thing
just
about
kind
it.
of,
I mean, it's
just
like
kind of.
I wouldn't say that it was like super happy or anything, but I mean, like
Things
there was
happen.
definitely shit. I would say that I enjoyed shit back then a lot more than I do now. I mean, especially like right now. I mean, oh my god, like if I fucking even just if I just leave my apartment, like today I left my apartment. Holy fuck, man! Like there was a whole shit ton of people out, like just having a good time today. I was surprised. It was a lot more than usual, and
So funny, dude.
I was happy to be out and about. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is pretty happening area all today. It was just
I don't know. I don't.
2,000 people out.
Whether
I was
you're a fucking
surprised. So,
anomaly, I have no idea what goes on in your brain. I really don't.
yeah.
I like. I'm
But in
starting.
any case,
Like some days, I think you're like a glow in the dark. You're fed. Like I
well,
swear
I
to God.
am. Yeah.
Well, yeah, technically you are. Huh? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah,
Oh yeah.
no, I got like not accepted into the actual fed area because I was currently going to the military at that time, but then they offered me this gig, so I came here instead, made more money. So that's how that happened. Yeah,
Never stop being you, Withers.
I know, right? But
Jesus
in any case, the bottom
Christ.
line was that they blocked out a bunch of memories too, and they were saying like they just don't remember shit. And I was just like, motherfucker, I remember shit that you were doing. Like, how do you not remember this? I'll tell them about something, they'll not even
Do you
remember. I'm
just
like, I
generally
know
have
this. That fucking
like? Do you have
happened.
like a photographic memory or some shit?
I'm
Or
I'm
just a
not gonna
good
say that
memory?
I remember everything, but I remember quite a few things. I
I
mean, like
don't.
there was a lot
I
of
don't.
shit. So,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think I have a lot of memories I necessarily blocked out because I still remember a lot of times that I just don't generally remember from day to day. But like if I like sit down and think about it, like yeah, I completely like remember all of the times I was severely depressed and isolated, and people really did hate me because they would tell me straight up. And like times I would lay in bed, etc., etc. But like the times I don't remember are generally just, it's not that I block them out because they're too traumatic, but it's just like they're just negative enough that it's like, why would I bother remembering them kind of angle.
Yeah, I mean, in my case, I think it's more of it has to be with either because of like in combination with everything, it has to be some inattentive ADHD shit. Because like it's so I cannot recollect things that aren't interesting to me.
Do you ever ask your mom to jog your memory about shit? Your dad?
She'll tell me it. She's told me in the past about like, well, we did this and we went here and we did this, and I'll be like,
And you didn't, none of that shit jog your memory at all.
No, I'll just be like, huh. Like, okay, for example, okay, so when I was a kid, we went to my home country of Costa Rica, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where both my parents are from. And so, like, I went there. Don says Withers oozes more enthusiasm from his pores at the rest that than all the rest of us trying our hardest. Party on, Withers. Party on.
Thanks, Don.
But what was I gonna say? Yeah. So she told me about some time we went to when we were in Costa Rica. I have almost no memories of what we did there. All I remember is I got my hand swell up because I got fucking stung by a ton of mosquitoes. And then I remember I was listening to a lot of Metallica. And I remember I had Garage Inc. on replay. And I remember we went to a bunch of different family members' houses. I remember going to one aunt's house and spending most of my time in the house watching the Spanish version of Dragon Ball Z. I remember there being a parrot there. And it said funny
Vivid?
things, sort of.
Vivid?
Yeah, the parrot it was, because the parrot was interesting. And I remember she would make these fries, and they were good. She made these really good fries, like out of actual slices, piece that maybe I don't know. I think we even like went to see a volcano or something. I have no memories of that.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm just like legitimately like I'm just trying to think. I'm like, what else? What else do I remember about that? All I remember is the graveyard, and I hung out all the time there because it was one of the places we were staying at. Because it was like they ran the graveyard. My family, well, my mom's side of the family, and so like they lived right next to it. They were like literally just neighboring the graveyard, and so I would like hang out there, be a weirdo spooky boy. And
I was about to say this Frank's got
and then I remember she told me we went to this like place in Spanish. It was called el something of los niños or some shit like that. And it was supposed to be like a little amusement thing, like a park where they had little rides and they had like things for kids to do, and it was supposed to be something like that, right? And I remember she said she took us there, me and my sister, and we were like there, and like we went to the different things there. I have no recollection of anything I did there, except for one place, which was some kind of abandoned, like old stone prison that was like really old, and so they turned it into like a little spooky museum. And so I guess they used to. I remember being told that they used to have actual like creepy like stuff in it, like not prosthetics, but like spooky shit in it, like fake shit in it, and that it was too scary, and so they got rid of it, and instead they like drew pictures or put pictures up on the walls and it looked stupid. And I remember feeling disappointed when I heard that because I wanted to see what it looked like when it was actually scary. And that's my strongest memory of that park or whatever we went to. And I feel like if I asked my sister, she would be able to tell me all kinds of shit about it.
I think
And
that's in due part because of your ADHD, not so much as
yeah, I think
trauma.
that's some inattentive shit. No, for sure. I think it's like a combination of like me being kind of like emotionally disinterested and disconnected from like a bunch of the shit there, plus my inattentive ADHD. I remember potatoes. Yeah, Paxton, that's correct. I do remember potatoes. A lot of potatoes. Yeah. That's all I remember about that trip. I think I got a couple of books that were kind of cool, and that was it. The end. I bet if
And
I asked,
everything that
I bet if I asked
go
my
ahead.
mom, she would tell me like all this shit. She'd have all that
Right.
shit on lockdown. I'd be like,
Yeah. And
I
some of
don't-
it would probably jog you a little bit. I just realized, I mean, like, just as many things that you just fucking said, like, nearly everything that you just said is jogging shit in my memory that I wouldn't have otherwise remembered. It'd probably be a good idea to have this thing. I don't know if we're recording this one today or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's a
Just,
stream. You're literally on my stream channel.
Yeah, but it's being.
Yeah,
It's
all
gonna
of them
go up
are.
on
They're
the
all.
on the
They all
YouTube.
go up.
Okay.
They all
Yeah.
go up. Every single one.
Yeah. It's good just to have that, that memory jogging.
What am I doing with
Because
it?
yeah, I mean, I just think about like where did I collect all these books that I have now, and like most of them came from when I was in the childhood and what have you, and so you would get those. Oh man, I got this new book. I'm gonna read it. I got whatever Lord of the Rings or whatever. I
I
guess
have all the
I'll read
memories
it.
of the stuff I actually care about, so I don't know why I would need any of those.
You don't ever remember something that you might actually that was formative for you or
No,
was
I mean
a little bit joyful for you or whatever.
I'll
I mean, come
remember.
on, man. You like fucking Candy Rocks or whatever, Pop Rocks, right? I
Well, I
mean,
like
like,
Wario
okay, we
World.
remember Pop Rock. Oh,
You
there you go.
you
Okay.
jogged my memory of Wario World, I guess. Like a
Mm-hmm.
picture would have been enough. I would have been like, oh, Wario World, and then I would have remembered everything about Wario World and what was cool.
Right.
Like or a movie poster. Are you mentioning a movie? I'll probably like have all these memories about watching that film,
Right.
everything
Yeah.
about it,
Mm-hmm.
or a book I read.
I was about to say, or hopefully more books, yeah, but
Hopefully more
wasn't sure
books.
if
Shut
you-
up! Don't be a snob.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I
did you get into like fiction and shit, or were you like into what were you
everything,
into?
just whatever caught my interest.
Yeah, I
Just
gotcha.
fiction and nonfiction. More nonfiction as I got older.
Yeah, me too.
Like reading wise, I continued down the fiction route and other forms of media, but as far as like books, yeah, I lost interest in most fiction because I started for my
Funny how that
fiction.
works, isn't it?
Yeah, for my fiction interests, I stick to comics and manga and anime and cartoons and video games.
Right.
But like I didn't keep reading fiction books very much. But I
I
was
wonder if
reading a
there's
lot.
something zoidy about that. I wonder if there's some
Yeah,
kind of
not
common
enough.
shit there.
But it's
I
just
don't know.
books, right? I was still partaking in it in a variety of other ways. It just with books, it just turned into a
Yeah.
nonfiction interest. It would be weird subjects. It would be like really odd subjects, or taboo subjects, or things I wasn't supposed to know about at my age, or
Yeah.
get into. But it was definitely, yeah, it was like this obsession with attaining knowledge of things I'm not supposed to know. And so,
The forbidden knowledge.
yeah, it was just like, what's the weirdest knowledge that I'm not supposed to know? And I want to read about it. I want to know about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Zen
and so-
Raiden says here he's got a lot of memories, but not in chronological order. Yeah, a lot of mine aren't in chronological order either, unless I
A
like really try
timeline?
to put it
That's
in there.
really
yeah.
rough. Timeline's rough. I don't know how my wife can do that shit. It's crazy. She can give me like she can write a Wikipedia page about herself, like and put all the timeline shit in. She'll be like, she'll get the right month, sometimes day. I'm like, what the fuck? She'll be like, yeah, I remember it was like around August because the trees and this, and I remember, I think it was like around, like I remember it was like midday. And like I'm just like, what the fuck? That's crazy. Like I can't do that. Any of that. That shit's wrong. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know how she keeps that stuff stored. My shit, like she has memories like that. Meanwhile, I have like, oh, what do all the items do in Final Fantasy 3? Like,
I got a lot of both. I got both. You know.
oh,
So
good for you. Because mine's just chock full of like random trivia and nonsense about all kinds of shit.
yeah. Well,
Which
you're
is,
not dead yet. You're not dead yet.
I'm okay with that though. I'm actually perfectly fine with the.
No, I know that's the worst
They,
part. Isn't
I'm trying to like change that for the present though because I definitely and it's working. I definitely want to have memories of shit that's happening right now in my life in like real time. I'm actually like
Right.
starting to store that shit. It's kind of working. It's pretty awesome. Like even recently, I've been like telling my wife, "Oh, I remember this, and I remember this time with my girls, and like all this sort of stuff." And it feels kind of good. It feels good. I'm like, shit, I have memories of like
We're
stuff.
leaving the anhedonia a little bit.
Well, it's just like wow, I have memories of like stuff that happened in my life with my
That's
kids
the part.
and my
That's the second
wife.
part of anhedonia right
It's
there.
pretty badass. It's pretty badass. I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Getting that secondary dopamine.
Because I don't want to be fucking 60, and then my daughters are all grown up. They're fucking got their whole lives. And then I go like I want to be able to at least think about like, oh yeah, I want to think about when they were little. Like I don't want to be like, huh, I don't remember what they look like or anything about when they were kids. Like I don't want that. That's fucking horrific. That sounds scary as shit to me.
Exactly right.
Like I'm 60 and then like my daughter goes up to me, "Hey dad, remember when you took us here and you laughed and like this funny thing happened?" I want to be able to say, "Yes. Yes I do."
You'll still forget most of it, but they'll probably jog you a little bit.
No, yeah, I want to be able to get those memories jogged. And then I'll be
Right.
like, "Yeah. Yeah, I do." I don't
Save
want to
some
be like,
pictures and what have you, you know.
"Sorry, honey. I don't remember any of that shit." It's all like super important to them. Like
I know, right?
Like I'm just like, sorry, baby, I don't remember that birthday party. That like fucking you have ingrained in your memory and that's a nightmare. I do not want that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, that's it. That's actually more powerful, I think, than you're giving it credit for, Angst, in terms of Zoids and bringing people out of Zoiding out and Zoidism and just
oh
in
yeah,
general and
no,
shit.
I know that's a
The
good one.
anhedonia and shit.
You want to
That's
be able to have memories when you're old about things that happened that were good, about people you managed to learn to connect with and care about. Yeah, you kind of want that.
And a whole lot of people, even not Zoids, will fuck up their midlife, because I mean, we're working hard. Everybody's working hard and shit, so they'll fuck up that whole part of their lives when their kids or whatever young or even when they're nearly grown a lot of times, and it does a lot of damage to the family too. Um, Not just your memories or whatever, So
Well, I care a lot about my kids, so I definitely don't want to do
yeah,
damage to them.
right.
It's like, Daddy doesn't remember anything. Daddy's too disassociated. Boom. Like, it's just like, fuck. That's
Right.
depressing.
Mm-hmm.
But Daddy could tell you about the cool video games he was playing when you were 5.
You better keep that shit under wraps, bro.
Like, no, I want to be able to remember both. I want to remember the
I
cool
know,
video
yeah,
games
I
I was
got you,
playing
yeah.
and, like, the cute thing she said. That
Right.
time that, she tripped and fell and farted. Or
Yeah,
something, I want that shit. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks a lot for being here. I appreciate you taking the time. Look forward to a video that I did, like a little conversation. It's not an interview, but a conversation with Melissa Chappell again, and we talked about academia, neurodivergence, difficulties in communication, growing up in or being neurodivergent in a society that feels kind of incompatible, and how that might affect your ability to work within those institutions if you're into like academic subjects and want to go to college and go to school and go into a field or something. Or that's something you have done. Maybe you can relate to some of what's discussed. But in any case, that'll be up sometime, hopefully. It's funny too because now there's that memory because like my I'm gonna leave it in. Fuck it, I'm leaving it. There's a part during the conversation I had with her on Zoom where like my 4-year-old just barges in. You hear in the background like, "Hey, daddy!" It's like, and she was supposed to be like watched by grandma and I guess slid by grandma or something. And then I'm just like, oh fuck. And she's trying to tell Melissa's trying to tell me shit, and I'm like, hold. Then I gotta mute myself. And yeah, I just leave that shit in. I think it's important because then I remember it more. Anyway, later, guys. If I'll be in my usual spot. I don't care. I'm gonna be there, and talk to you guys later. As usual, when day is dark, always remember